Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today we are going to be continuing our vintage camera memory box. We are going to make these little folios. We have some polaroids, some faux polaroids on the top and bottom. And we have a larger faux polaroid in the center, and then we have pockets with some inserts on the sides. You can add brads to these to the top and bottom if you want with the flaps. I do have videos of how to do that in previous albums, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to do the base folio, and I already made 4 of them. You will need to make 5 for the box. Once you make the box and the folios, they will fit perfectly in your box, like so. And if you want to add different things to it, you can like remove 1 or 2 of them and add different stuff. So let's make a folio. You will need 1 piece that is 7 1/8 by 11 1/8. 1 piece that is 5 1/8 by 6 1/2. 1 piece that is 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. 1 piece that is 4 1/2 by 7 3/8. 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 7 1/2. 2 pieces that are 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. 1 piece that is 4 by 6. 1 piece that is 4 by 4 3/4. 2 pieces that are 6 by 8. And 1 piece that is 6 1/2 by 9 1/4. So you're going to score everything all at once. Gonna cut everything all at once so that this goes a little bit quicker, because once you get everything done, then you just put it all together. We are going to start with the 7 1/8 by 11 1/8. You want to start with the 11 1/8 at the top, and we're going to score at 5/8, 5 1/4, 5 7/8, and 10 1/2. Then turn it around to the 7 1/8 inch side, and we're going to score at 5/8. With the 6 1/2 by 9 1/4, you want the 9 1/4 at the top, and we're going to score at 4 1/2 and 4 3/4. Here we go. The 5 1/8 by 6 1/2, you want the 5 1/8 at the top, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 5/8. The 7 3/8 by 4 1/2, you want the 7 3/8 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 7/8. With the 4 1/2 by 7 1/2, you want the 7 1/2 at the top, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1. The two 3 1/4 by 7 1/2, we're going to start at the 7 1/2 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Turn it around, 1/2 inch, turn it around, and 1/2 inch. Again, you want to start with 7 1/2 at the top, 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, oops, turn, 1/2 inch. And if you ever make a mistake, you can just lightly run over it again and just burnish it out, and it'll come right out. The two 6 by 8s, we are going to score at 4 inches with the 8 at the top. 8 at the top, score at 4. And then the two 4 1/2 by 5 3/4, you want the 5 3/4 at the top, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. 5 3/4 at the top, score at 1/2. And that is all the scoring that needs to be done for the folio. And now we're going to burnish all of our pieces. So I have folded all my things. The two 6 by 8s that we just folded in half, we're going to set these off to the side. Those are going to be our inserts. And we're going to start with working on our 7 1/8 by 11 1/8 inch piece. This is going to be our folio box. Grab your scissors And we are going to cut, we're going to miter the top right, the top left corner. And we are going to cut out the bottom left square. And then we're going to miter out these two larger tabs in the center tab, like this. And then we're going to miter this tab. So when you're done, your page should look like this. You should have, so the top left corner is mitered, the bottom left corner is mitered out. There's no corner here. And then these four bottom tabs are mitered. Now you want to put pattern paper on this side, this spine, this side, and this spine. So I have my pattern paper already cut out, and I'm going to glue my pattern paper on here, just like this. And then you also want to glue pattern paper on this tab. And you'll notice that you won't cover the full thing, or your pattern paper will kind of poke out. That's okay, that's what you want. It'll be a lot easier to add the pattern paper before we put it together. So I'm just going to glue all of my pattern paper on my flattened box really quick. Dakota! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You better be laying down. My box is all covered up. One more thing before we put our box together, we need to add some notches on the top of our box so that we can grab the folio out. So I am going to make a little tick mark at the center of both sides of my box. And then I'm going to use my envelope punch to punch out my notches. Just like this. Now we can put it together. Add glue to the the side tab that you mitered, and then we're going to attach that to the unmitered side that has the pattern paper on top. Just like that. And now we're going to work on the bottom. So, starting with the side that you glue together, gonna put that tab in, add some glue to that, push the larger tab down, add some glue to the smaller tab on the other side, and then you want to add glue to the large tab with the pattern paper on it. That's going to be your base. And then I like to stick it in the corner of my scoreboard and run my bone folder along the bottom of it to make sure that everything sticks. And then sometimes I'll just kind of run the bottom along the scoreboard. And it should stick. Today it just doesn't want it though. There we go. That's better. Okay. Our box is done. Now we can set that off to the side. Grab your 6.5 by 9 1/4 inch piece. And we want our, oh wait. So, since our box is done, we can miter the rest of our pieces really quick. So what we're just going to do is miter on our 1/2 inch tabs like this. And with our pockets, we are mitering the top 2 corners and mitering out the bottom 2 squares like this. You are not cutting anything from your 2 6 by 8 inch pieces or your 6.5 by 9 1/4 inch piece. Those are staying the way they are. Now it is time to put our folio together. So we want our 5 1/8 by 6 1/2 and our 6 1/2 by 9 1/4. I'm going to add some score tape to my miter tab here. And we are going to glue this to one side of our 6 1/2 by 9 1/4 inch piece. So just like this, just like that. Now we want our 4 1/2 by 7 3/8 and 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. Our 4 1/2 by 7 3/8 is going to go on the bottom. You want the 5 1/8 piece to be on your left and the 9 1/2 by 9 1/4 to be on your right. So the 7 3/8 again will go on the bottom. Just like this. And then our 7 1/2 is going to go on the top. And this will give us our base folio. Next two pieces are going to be our two 4 1/2 by 5 3/4 inch pieces. And these are going to go on our 7 1/2 and our 7 3/8 inch pieces. Gonna go on the top of the 7 1/2 and the bottom of the 7 3/8. And just do your best to line them up. And once it's fully open, this is how it looks. So we're just going to close those two flaps. And actually, let's just close it all the way. We're going to work on our 2 pockets. Gonna check really quick to make sure that I have it correct, because sometimes I get a little mixed up. Going to start with the bottom of our pocket, and it's going to line up with the outer score mark of our 2 side pieces. So one will go right here. Grab some Scotch tape, add it to your bottom tab, and we can put our 2 side pieces down. And then we're going to flip this around to the other side. And glue this one to this side. Just like so. And then Scotch tape to the inside, or to the our tab here. And then glue our side tabs down. Just like so. And now our folio is done. Now we have our 2 inserts that can go in our pockets. And then once pattern paper is down, we can glue our mats down. The larger one goes in the center, and then the 2 smaller ones go on the inside of the flaps. So one will go right here, and one will go right here. Oops. If you want to make these like Polaroids, I will have the measurements for the images down in the description below. But for the 4x6, your image or your blank space will need to be cut down to 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. And for your 2 4 by 4 3/4, it will need to be cut down to 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. And that will give you about 1/8 of an inch on the top and sides. So we can just tuck these in one of the pockets here for now. And then to close this, close the flaps up. left, right, bottom, and top. And then this can just slide into the box just like this. And then open the large box that we made in the last video, and we just tuck that in like this, and all these fit in perfectly. I hope you enjoyed making this fun little project with me. If you liked the video, please click the like button down below. And if you want to see more of these wonderful projects in the future, hit the subscribe button. I will see you next time. Bye!